we're gonna do is we're gonna play the set. I'm just gonna
Devil Jin.
take note of whatever I notice, and then I'll make a file out of it, out of all the notes, and then we go over it after the set on stream.
Get ready for the next battle.
Keep forgetting this Halloween outfit exists. Looks so weird on Devil Jin.
Fight.
Right from the get-go, bro. He's very willing to press into my pokes. It's like the best thing I could ask from a playing Devil Jin. Especially on my one. Whoops, that was my back foot. Big fan from Brazil. Greetings to Brazil.
Fight.
He tried to hell seat. Man, I knew it was gonna be. Oops. So right from the get-go, there's like two things I already noticed. One, very willing to press into my pokes. But you kinda have to be very careful with while playing Devil Jin since your pokes are very susceptible. Like your solution to that is just checking with back 4-2. Since you can almost never do something wrong with checking with back 4-2. There we go. And the other thing is he's tunnel visioning a bit too much on that health save, especially like after plus frames from 4-4-4. Sometimes you just take the guaranteed chip damage from 4-4-4, for example, where rank 3 is pretty much uninterruptible. You just take the guaranteed chip damage and fuck off, because in total you get like 30 plus damage from landing a 4-4-4. Let me write that down. Willingness to press into my pokes. Risky sets it to reads. And tunnel visioning. I'll know what I mean by that later on.
Round one. Fight.
Oh. That's fine.
Round two. Fight.
No, he's not dead. Nice. No, you don't get sidestep 2 for failing sidestep electric. That almost never happens. He's throwing those sidestep 2s out very willingly, which is kinda an issue. In general, blue rank Devil Jins are just way too willing to throw out shit that will get them killed. Like, even if it hits, the reward isn't really enough to warrant you killing yourself with those buttons. It's kind of the issue with playing Devil Jin, like, it's very easy to fall into bad habits with this character. Was geht, Mike? It's like, there's not much I have to write down here, it's the same things. It's too willing to go for the big reads when you have, like, no life lead or whatsoever. Like, we're at the same health, there's no read to go for a huge read like that. Like, the way you wanna use back 3 is to steal momentum, not to just randomly throw out whenever your mind is. It's kinda not the purpose of the move. I didn't block in time. So, like, he landed that sidestep too, but it didn't win him the round. At that point, like, if that huge read doesn't win you the round, it's kinda not worth it. Like, I can throw out a sidestep to a round start, and then even if it lands, I have so much recoverable health, I just risk my life for pretty much nothing. They'll just make a comeback. Like, I can try to land a sidestep 2 here. But I could have landed an electric too, you know. I could have kept it safe like that. Nice. Like, anytime you use a sidestep 2, you can just replace it with a sidestep electric. No difference. Oh wow, that didn't hit. Oh, my electric. Up for one, maybe? Yeah, you should not get sidestep 2 for trying sidestep electric. Oh, nice one. Wake up sidestep 2. I've had a student before that kept doing that. So what we're gonna do the next time is we're just gonna block the next time he in a wake up situation like that. Going pro 3 into down jet is crazy. Oh. What a frame drop.
Final round. Fight.
Oops. Tried to go for the sidestep 2 again. Like, the way he should be doing it, especially after like standing 4, if your goal is to step block after, the way you want to do it is you don't want to throw out that sidestep 2 immediately. Either you try to recognize the whiff and then throw out the 2 after the sidestep to get the sidestep 2, or you just go for the electric right away to stay safe, because sidestep 2 will not always get a whiff punish on something that was, like, for example, jabs. You will not always be able to whiff punish with sidestep 2. However, an electric is fast enough to do exactly like that. Oops, sorry, I fucked up then.
Round 2.
He has to activate heat somehow to make a comeback, otherwise anything else is useless.
Round 3. Fight.
Oh, it's a bit stuttery. I think the issue is more that without his huge reads, which will work in blue ranks, he kind of does not have a solid game plan to work with.
Fight.
Like, playing against him feels like he feels very lost in his game plan. He does not know what to do. Do you play on stick? I don't. You should never lose a round while still having an entire heat bar available.
Fight.
I guess that I'm not close to grunts. Case in point. I blocked on his wake up, and he risked his life for it, just like the last time. I got hit for it once, but no, it will never work on me again. These kinds of reads, they will work like once or twice against a better player, but then they will just block whatever you're doing. And if you don't have a game plan to resort to after that, you will be very lost with Devil Jin. This character was not made to be risking your life the entire time. You have the health to risk your life if you can't afford to risk your life with other moves. It's not how you're supposed to be playing the character. So let me write all of this down. And something else I also noticed is that he did not really go for any lows, so like neither down back 2 nor down 3. So he kind of had nothing to open me up if I could legit just chill the entire time. Nothing that could scare me. And then there was something else I also noticed. Oh yeah, heat usage. Devil Jin has many ways to get a guaranteed heat pop, which kind of makes it even more stupid to die without having used heat at all. And the way you want to use heat is to either get a life lead or take your life lead back when you're at the deficit with, for example, Greyhound. So let me send him that file that I just wrote. It's only 6 lines, but those 6 lines might get him to like at least Tekken King if he implements everything that's in there. Like this coaching is... Yeah, that's what we're gonna get into, Ray, so don't worry. That's perfectly normal. I have had a lot of Devil Jin players at your rank that had the same issues, and some of them are now Tekken gods, so don't be afraid of looking at your own mistakes like that. Someday, I have no clue what that means. More importantly, you need to have the self-awareness that your game plan just doesn't work against better players. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over your game plan, and what I do with any student of mine is I'll give a general overview of what I noticed about their game plan, or like what their game plan is. I'm gonna talk about its flaws and how to implement it better, like implement a game plan that works much better and consistently against like any player at any level. So like, Ray, are you in the chat? Because I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this over Discord as usual. I'm gonna do this on stream for anyone to watch, and the bot will be safe too, probably. Need to know when I can start yapping. Okay, so I'll just give a lecture now, and you should be done. All you have to do is listen and like ask questions when you feel confused. But to give you a general overview of your game plan, you like big buttons with this character. You kind of don't like. Do not really focus on the pokes with Devil Jin. I know Devil Jin pokes may not be the best, but still, you shouldn't be neglecting them all too much because he does have good pokes in general. It's like you love using big moves a lot. Like 4-4-2, 4-4-4, back 3, you name it, right? And then obviously the Hell Sweep and the other mix-ups. Your problem with your game plan is that you're risking your life too much with moves. So like, if your goal is to, for example, land Hell Sweeps, you should not be risking your life with moves like back 3 or sidestep 2 all too much, because you're already risking your life with that Hell Sweep. And you can't take too many risks with Devil Jin. You take like 1 or 2 risks, you fail, and you lose the round. So the more moves you have in your game plan that involve like huge risks, like this, or this, or this, the more you just lose the ability to play a consistent game plan out with Devil Jin. And that's not what you want to do. Like, you want to keep everything safe with Devil Jin until you go in with like that one big mix-up and get the life lead. That's what you want to use the Hell Sweep for these days, for example. You want to use it to get a life lead. However, if you end up using moves like sidestep 2 regardless when you have a life lead, you're just giving that away for nothing. So you risk your life for nothing, and you keep risking your life for nothing, especially against better players. It's like what you would do, for example, is you would wake up. So let's have this Jin knock me down somehow, right? Maybe not like this. What move does he has? That I know. 1 second. It's like, let's say I'm knocked down, right? You would wake up like this and immediately throw out the sidestep 2. And what I said is, okay, I got hit by this once, but any player that is like half solid at this game, like just a little solid at this game, will realize, okay, all I have to do on this wake up is block. And in the last game, what happened is I blocked on your wake up, you threw out a sidestep 2, and I punished it with a Hell Sweep. That's how prepared I was for a sidestep 2 on wake up. And your issue is, without these big moves, you kind of don't have a game plan against me. I don't have to fear anything against you. The moment you can't land those big moves on me anymore, you are very lost. So that's what we're gonna work on. I'm gonna give you a game plan that you can work with without having to rely on like back 3 or like sidestep 2 or you name it. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to implement more lows in your game plan, because Devil Jin's lows track really well. And it's like your first go-to method of tracking people, like going in with like down 3 or down back 2. May not be the best lows, but they still track. So you want to be using them. And especially to open people up. And that's like, well, it's not as important as a point as like the next few things I'm gonna say, but the first thing I wanted to tell you, you need to use more lows that are not the Hell Sweep, because otherwise you will never be able to open up better players. And your sidestep 2, right? Let me get a Devil Jin in here. Let me get a second Devil Jin in here. The way you want to sidestep 2, if you really insist on using sidestep 2, is you want to confirm the whiff before throwing out anything. So let's say this Devil Jin blocks my standing 4. That's what happened when we played, by the way. So I blocked their standing 4, I checked with something, and you ended up using a sidestep 2 to whiff punish. So let's say he checks me with a down 4-4, right? Blocks this, I sidestep right, and as you can see, I see a whiff, right? And if I really want to use sidestep 2 here, I will wait until I see the whiff before I press the 2. What you're doing is, you're immediately throwing out the sidestep 2. And there are also times where immediately throwing out the sidestep 2 like that will get you clipped, because you're not using the entire motion of your sidestep. So what I recommend doing instead is you either replace all of those sidestep 2s with I knew it was about Jesus Christ. You replace all of those sidestep 2s with either a sidestep electric. I know this may be difficult at first, but it's much safer because especially if you fail this sidestep 2 with punish, you're dead. Well, with an electric, you're guaranteed to almost always live. Like, there's not a lot of people who are ready for a like electric with punish, fuck up, whatever. Not gonna happen. So what you want to do is, at the very least, replace those sidestep 2s with a sidestep electric, just to bring some more safety in your game plan. And that's what you want to do, like, bit by bit. With, like, back 3, you also want to start using it less. And the way you want to use back 3 is, you don't want to use it anytime the Devil Jin is, like, he has, like, plus frames or whatever. So let's say we are, I don't know, what number are we? Like, this won't even work. Actually, it does work, it's fast enough. It's like, what you want to do is, you don't want to throw out back 3 whenever you're minus, right? You want to use back 3 when you want to steal momentum and you have like a lot of gray health where landing a heat engager is actually worth it. Throwing out the back 3 at round start like that is, you're almost never going to see a good Devil Jin player do that. But what you're going to see good Devil Jin players do is like throw out the back 3, like a panic back 3 when they're cornered, when they have the life deficit, and they need that one move they have to land to get a comeback going. And a heat engager is a lot of momentum, don't forget that. So what will happen is, when you land that back 3 when you're at the life deficit, you will get like 30 gray health back, and you get a guaranteed mix-up on hit. And that's how you want to use back 3 when you're not in heat. When you are in heat, you can throw out the back 3 much more willingly, because you can confirm it into a safe on block, like +5 on block backswing. But don't use the back 3 whenever you are minus. Like, you blocked one while running 3 off mine, and you immediately opted for a back 3, and that got you killed. So those big moves I told you about, kinda have to implement them much less in your game plan, because you're already risking your life a lot with Devil Jin. You're risking it with a health sweep, you're risking it with any mid use in the neutral because they're kinda linear, but we're gonna talk about that later too. You can't afford to put much more moves in your game plan that risk your life like this. You can't, because otherwise you will plateau with this character so hard against anyone that doesn't get hit by your hard read moves. And then what also happened is that against you, like, I just poker faced against your 4-4-4 on hits. Like, you landed like 3-4-4-4s in a row, and you still ended up going for the health seek. Now let's check how much damage your 4-4-4 is in total. So like, let's put off player rage. Counter is not on. This is 22 damage per 4-4-4. So you got 66 damage. But I blocked one health seek, right? I get a full Y standing 2 punish, maybe even a crouch cancel electric punish, right? On your health seek. What happens is, I block one health sweep, and I get how much damage? Like 97, 100 damage, whatever. You can get up to 100 damage, if not even more, with the wall by blocking a health sweep. So you landed 3 mids in a row just to risk your life with one health sweep anyway, and you gave away all of your life lead, and like you didn't even get much more damage than I did for landing 3 mids in a row. You need to not tunnel vision on the health sweep in situations where it's obvious it's coming. So like, after 4-4-4 on hit, I already stopped using the health sweep much. Like, I use it maybe to get a life lead, if at all. I don't really use health sweep after 4-4-4, for example, anymore. And after heat engagers, I don't really do it much more either. Like, I don't see a reason to. What you can do instead, though, since they are forced to block, you can stack some chip here. So like, what I do is, I always go for a demon pour here because it's also 7 chip damage. What you can also do is, but there are people out there who will fuzzy guard that while running free. You can get an extra free 9 damage going after 4-4-4 on hit, and that's kind of how you want to use it. You want to build up a life lead after landing a 4-4-4 on hit. But you don't really want to risk your life all too much with a health sweep. For that, you have to use a lot of mids prior. And like, a 4-4-2 on hit is scarier because of the heat engager than a 4-4-4 and like another 4-4-4. Because in heat you also stack much more chip. So what I'm telling you to do is, don't always go for the health, like, don't tunnel vision that health sweep out of 4-4-4. It's a trap. Like, that 45 damage is not really worth it. You use that health sweep to get a life lead, and that's pretty much it. You don't want to use it much more, because otherwise you build up too much gray health against them. So that's also what I wrote in your notes. You're tunnel visioning too much on the health sweep. Sometimes you just take the life lead and backdash. And with this character you want to backdash a lot. You want to move a lot. This character is the movement Mishima played well. So like, you just got 34 damage in total, if I'm correct. So 22 plus 12. And then depending on what you do after, you can also remove that chip. So let's say you landed a Barbarian 3 on block, you move around, you land a CD4-4 at some point. This will remove like 9 gray health of his. And then those 12 chip damage become real damage, just to put it into perspective. And you're at the life lead. Don't risk your life with the health sweep too much. That 4-4-4 on hit is kinda a trap. Like, if you use the health sweep too much, you're just risking your life for nothing. That damage you get from the sweep is not really worth it. Yeah, sometimes you just take your plus frames and backdash. That's what a lot of high-level players do. Like, I am plus now, I will sidestep or backdash to bait out. Maybe he will mash, maybe he will, I don't know. You don't have to frame trap someone pressing into you all the time. You can also just backdash or sidestep. We already talked about you not using enough lows, so what I said, I could just constantly chill. Didn't really have to be afraid of anything. Like, if you go in and health sweep, I can just sidestep, whatever. Didn't have to be scared of anything. And well, what ended up happening is you tried to go in, wasn't with a health sweep, maybe a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-4, I sidestep or launched you. So another issue of yours is that your game plan feels kind of lost when you don't have those big moves to work with, and it's mostly because you don't know how to make your moves track. And what we're gonna do is, it's like when you use the 4-4-2 directly like this, right? You're at this range. You use the 4-4-2 from here. You use the 4-4-4 from here. If you tie a movement into the moves you use, like a crouch dash before that, as you can see, it will start tracking. You can also prolong the 4-4 and also start tracking. You wanna use movement. You wanna tie in movement to your moves to make them track. If you want to be lazy, you can also just use back 4-2. However, with Devil Jin in the neutral, you have to use movement to realign. You have to. There's no other way around. Against better players, you just have to use movement. And that's why at the highest level of play, you will see Devil Jin players wave dash, and at like blue ranks, you won't, because at blue ranks, people won't be sidewalking from this range. And you don't need to really mix up your health sweep timings or whatever in blue ranks. But at the highest level of play, you will see Devil Jin players move around like this to make their moves track. And that goes for both 4-4-2 and 4-4-4. Depending on how you realign, your 4-4-4 will also start tracking. Like as you can see here, even a move as linear as 4-4-4 can track if you use it properly. And that goes for both sides. This is 4-4-2's weak side, by the way. Going to the right is what you want to do against Demon Paws. And still you can make it track by using movement. Back 4-2 is kinda iffy, because depending on what character you play against, they can sidestep like they can sidewalk the back 4-2 to the right, consistently even. So using movement is the superior option in this game. Back 4-2 is just for when you're lazy and want to condition them with ease. And back 4-2 you need to use much more too. Like what I do is, I just go on with a wave dash, I check them with back 4-2 until they stop either sidewalking or ducking. And that's what conditioning is. Use a movement, like use an option that beats their option so much that they have to like resort to another option. Which against back 4-2 would be just standing around and blocking, right? You can't duck, you can't sidestep. You have to either backdash or just block. And what happens when they just have to stand around and block? You can go in and hell sweep. And that's how conditioning goes. Back 4-2 is like your best tool to condition your opponents with. You also have like the dash electric, Warring free and whatever, but all of those moves do not offer the coverage back 4-2 offers. Like this is the easiest way to condition your opponent. And you need to use it much more against players who are very willing to sidestep your offense. So either you use movement to make your offense track, because Devil Jin does have a lot of issues with linear offense. So a crouch dash like Weibo Electric, for example, they will almost never be able to sidewalk. And it goes for both sides, like for a lot of moves you have. Use movement to make your moves track, that's pretty much the gist of it. And then the last thing that we all noticed on the stream about you is that, like this is not meant to sound like, yeah, we're looking down on everything, it's just something that we noticed together. You're not using your heat enough. Like you're not using it at all in some rounds even. You just die with a full heat bar. And sometimes, like with Devil Jin especially, when you're at like half HP and you have a lot of grey health, what you can do is like a 1-1-2 knockdown and you just activate heat. There's nothing they can do about this. Like if you're afraid of activating heat because they can sidestep heat burst or whatever, or like they can sidestep your 4-4-2, just go for a situation like this. This is guaranteed. This is guaranteed. And this is also a guaranteed activation of heat. It's the easiest and safest way to activate heat. And you're at the range where your Morning Crow 2-2 becomes a very huge threat. Like, no reason not to activate heat here. Why Devil Jin bottom tier? We're not going to talk about that on the stream. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that Devil Jin has like very effective and easy ways to activate heat. And if you're afraid of using heat in like the neutral because they might sidestep or whatever, like here, at the very least try to use it in situations where you're guaranteed to activate heat. So what I will do, for example, when I'm half HP and I'm at a life deficit, I will just try to land that 1-1-2, like maybe I get a punish on something, or I just confirm my 1-1 into 2, and I immediately activate heat. And then it's time to get some life feed going, like building up chip, or maybe landing a morning pro 2-2, you know, as you can see. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I'm giving you ways to activate heat guaranteed, because obviously against better players, they might be looking out for it. Okay, he needs a comeback, so we'll try to activate heat. It's also what I said at some point. He needs to activate heat. Anything else he does is irrelevant against me right now. So I was just looking out for that. But there are guaranteed ways to activate heat very safely with Devil Jin. A lot of them actually. So I just showed you them. And that pretty much sums it up. Honestly, I could have written like 20 more lines of giving you coaching, but it would be so niche that it doesn't really help you in blue ranks. In blue ranks, you have to keep it simple. So like what I'm gonna also give you now, and I have talked about this in quite a lot of videos. Sometimes all you have to do is just single backdash with Devil Jin. Let's say this Devil Jin here, the second Devil Jin, right? Keeps pressing into me. Let's say he keeps pressing a down for 1 or a back for 2 or whatever, you name it. He's willing to press into me just like you, right? So what I will do is, I will just single backdash. One single backdash is enough to make him with half of his move list. Would adding chain into the game plan help in any way? I think chain is just a gimmick. I think chain is a horrible move. I don't like to incentivize people to use chain. It's another one of those big moves that gets you killed more often than not. So anyway, single backdash. Do any move on block, maybe even at 1-1. Depending on what range they block it from, like maybe after a single jab even. All you have to do is single backdash sometimes. Like as you can see here, even here, the down for 1 just straight up whiffed. And then you keep it back to free locked and loaded because it's your easiest with punish. And what happens when you are in heat is the following. We are now in heat. We are still looking out for whiffs, right? And that's what I do a lot. Even at the highest level of play, that's still what I do a lot. Oh, he whiffed, back to free into heat dash. I get my life lead very freely. It's an easy whiff punish. High range and fast, 40 frames. Don't really have to use an electric even. Like you can use an electric if you want to and you don't want to spend your heat. But back to free is so easy to use as a whiff punish. There's no reason not to. So this is what you want to do. Any move on block, maybe single backdash. You block a move of theirs that is like minus, you single backdash. If you, however, backdash like this, you immediately KBD to like the other side of the stage. You don't have time to whiff punish anymore. And that's like the issue a lot of players face in blue ranks. They rely too much on like the KBD, and then they use it in a way that harms themselves. Like, all you have to do is single backdash. You don't have to do anything else. Single backdash and keep that whiff punish locked and loaded. But you have to confirm the whiff, just like with the decisive 2 situation earlier. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you focus on these, like, 6 or 7 points I just gave you, you'll get Tekken King very easily, I can guarantee you. Like, especially with that whiff punish point. Play your game plan easier, put in some more moves that are very simple and effective, and try to go for more whiff punishes with Devil Jin because back to free is just so good. So good until like Tekken out where people will start whiffing us. But even at Tekken out, people whiff like crazy, I can guarantee you. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the coaching session.